Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. I'm going to give you guys a chance to come into the conversation. It's a sad conversation. It's one that I really don't want to have, and it's one that's pretty disturbing and definitely concerns me. I don't know if you guys have gotten word about this or not, but rapper Nipsey Hussle was shot down. He was shot 6 times. In Los Angeles this week. It's sad to see, and right now there aren't that many reports in terms of what happened. I see that Just Dre has mentioned it was outside his store. I don't know if you guys have any more. If anybody knows him personally or has information that you'd like for me to share, please just let me know, and I'll be glad to share it. Nipsey Hussle. The reason I'm even talking about this is because I had a lot of respect for this man. He was, he is. I'm hoping that he's not, with the ancestors right now. But he was a guy that, or he is a guy that was known not just for being a great rapper, but for also being, an extraordinary businessman. The shooting, obviously the whole situation kind of makes me sad. And it kind of, triggers me also, because, there was a tweet, he put out right before all this happened. Right before it went down, he put something up where he said, it's a blessing to have enemies, right? And I think there's an irony there when somebody tweets something like that right before something like this happens. Your enemies, when the enemies weigh, heavy on their mind. And so, so the thing about Nipsey is I remember, I never met him. I know some people in LA, but I never met Nipsey. And but one of the reasons he was brought to my attention was because he is an entrepreneur, a really good entrepreneur. Apparently, he's actually been trying to use his influence and his the power of his words as a hip hop artist to do what a lot of us, I think, want our artists to do, which is to build the community up. And so that's why I started paying attention to him, not because of music or anything. I know 1,000 rappers, and most of them ain't making no money. Most of them, are in another space mentally, but Nipsey seemed to kind of get it, and that's one thing I really just instantly liked about this brother. I said, okay, this guy seems like he's legit, like he's really got it figured out. And and so for him to get shot, it really just kind of speaks to our community and just the toxic energy that exists, out here. When you're a black man and you're trying to rise up, you're trying to do something good in the world, it ain't nothing to have another nigga trying to come take you out, and I think that's the part that bothers me, is that it makes me think about great black men I've known who've been killed, and sometimes they get killed by the hands of other black people. Now I don't know if Nipsey's dead or not, so I'm not going to put him in the grave. I see some of y'all in the chat are saying that he's already gone. I don't know. I do know that I read that he got shot 6 times, and it's hard to make it through that. That's a lot of bullets. And I just really hope that he's not the guy that they're saying. They did say one person died. The media's reporting that one is dead now, and I just hope that he's not one of them. So let's not put the brother in the grave yet. Somebody says he did just put out a documentary on Dr. Sebi. I don't know. I mean, honestly, if you ask me, what do you bet on? Do you bet that he was shot by somebody who wanted to stop him from sharing Dr. Sebi's message, or was he shot by another black person? Let's just be honest, it's a race thing. We got an issue with each other. And, and I think, and especially you talk about LA is kind of the center for white supremacy because they created all that gangbanging shit. They created all the Crips and Bloods and dropped the crack in South Central and all this other stuff. They created the chaos. They created the hell that a lot of these young brothers have to live in. And so even if we say that, even if we acknowledge that black people were responsible for this particular act, white supremacy's always got a hand in it. You know, even if you look at Malcolm X's murder, even if he was killed by another black man or whatever, which he was shot by, you know, some black people, we know white folks have a hand in it. And it's important to know that, because they want to do things to make it appear that somebody else did it, that they had nothing to do with it. That's how they killed Dr. King. They made it look like it was a, you know, they made it look like it was, you know, some crazy white man, when really they spent a whole year. J. Edgar Hoover spent an entire year planning to kill Dr. King. It was an intricate plot. By the way, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button while I send out a text. I'm gonna send a text message out to let everybody know that we're talking. I was gonna talk about something else tonight in my heart, like it was important to talk about Nipsey. Let's see, I just got a text. Okay. Bryn just sent me, my friend Bryn out of LA just sent me a note. She's typing something, so I'm gonna look and see if anybody knows anything about what's going on, or you know, whether Nipsey Hussle is actually dead or not. Let me know. Somebody just said that he got, one of the shots was in the head. That's, you know, that's tough. But anyway, let me see here. Okay, so I'm sending out a text alert. If you want to get text alerts when we go live, all you got to do is text my name, text Boyce, BOYCE, to 31996. Just text Boyce to 31996. And you guys have to forgive me for talking a little bit slow. I'm kind of sad and kind of stunned. I read one person is dead, but it's unclear if it's Nipsey. Just live and want each and every one to live, love, and happiness until very old age. Yeah, you know, who was it that was speaking? I think Quincy Jones, about 20, 30 years ago, he was talking to a bunch of brothers, you know, in LA, and he was basically telling them, he said, you know, I want you guys to live a long time. He said, I want you to be old like me. I don't want you to die young, you know. And that's really true. I don't think that black men really feel that we have the right to old age, to live to old age. You know, when you're black, I think everybody puts stuff in your head to really give you the impression that if you're a black male, you ain't supposed to live that long. And it's disturbing, it's bothersome, it's problematic. Now, Bryn, my friend in LA, who knows a lot of people. How you doing, Bryn? She says that it's an internal beef, 60s. He's not dead. Okay. So she says he's not dead. So it is what it is. And by the way, if you guys are on Instagram, you might want to go to drboycetv.com, because we'll continue the conversation there. I'm going to have to shut off the Instagram. So go to drboycetv.com and you can check it out. Now, let's see, Mr. Kanoitos. When I first heard Nipsey rapping about the stuff he rapped about, I said, this is going to be a problem. What was he rapping about that was a problem? I honestly don't know much about Nipsey Hussle's music. I just know what he represents, you know, as an artist. And I think that what he represents is, you know, powerful and extraordinary. At least, okay, yeah, I thought, yeah, you said 60s. She said 60s. I was thinking rolling 60s, but because I'm not deeply familiar with every aspect of the gang culture in LA, I try to be respectful of that. So my goal is not to ever say anything that's going to cause any problems with nobody. Because I do stuff in LA. I've worked with people in LA, and you know, and I know guys, you know, I know some Crips, I know some Bloods, and honestly, I hate it all. I just hate the idea of black men being divided, you know, by the color of their clothes. And I'm glad some people addressed that. You know, they fixed a lot of that. Where now you see guys from different sides of the fence working together. You should all be on Team Black. You know, there shouldn't be no Team Crip, Team Blood, Team this, Team that. You know, fighting over streets that you don't even own. What the fuck is that shit? Come on, man. You know, we should be Team Black. We're Team Black men. And so at the end of the day, you know, I've always been respectful of it, but I never really quite understood it. I never really understood, you know, why there are black men who are incredibly eager to go kill other black men, but ain't got shit to say when it comes to white supremacy. When a white man owns your whole damn block and he's pitting you up against each other, you're not even pointing at the real enemy. You're actually pointing the gun at each other, and it doesn't make any sense. So anyway, if you just came in, we're talking about the rapper Nipsey Hussle, who was just shot outside his store. He was shot 6 times from what from what I've read. And I'm hearing different reports about whether or not he's dead. Somebody said that he got shot in the head, which means that if he's not dead, there's going to be a long recovery process. Okay, he's unresponsive, says King Draco. Okay. Tiger just reported that he died. Okay, so that could be the case, which I think is sad because, I mean, it's one thing if you lose a talented artist, but it's another thing when you lose a talented spirit. You know, when you lose somebody that's really bringing something to the table that's different. You know, when you're doing something and you found yourself. You know, I mean, I think the thing about Nipsey that was really interesting to me is that, you know, he seemed to have really found himself. He seemed to really have, you know, done the important work of understanding what hip hop was designed for. Hip hop was not designed to rap about, you know, how you think all women are bitches and hoes and throwing all your money away and killing other black people. I mean, that was not what hip hop was designed for. Hip hop was, you know, it was a way for people to communicate a message to each other. One of the first most popular hip hop songs ever was called "The Message." And I mean, think about that. The title, "The Message," right? It's like we got something to say and we want to share this with the world, you know. And so I'd never understood in hip hop how we went from, you know, from having the message to, you know, to like the shit that I'm hearing from Cardi B and Rick Ross, and, you know, Cardi B's telling women how to sell pussy for money, and, you know, some of the other rappers give you every single way possible to go kill another black man. They say things about their own people that nobody is else, no other culture will say these things about their own except for us. Like we never, you know, there's no other culture out there. Like Jews would not allow other Jews to get on wax and talk shit about the Jewish community. They would not allow that. Michael Jackson, if you remember, Michael Jackson made that one reference to the Jews. He said, "Kike me" or something. He didn't even say it in a negative way. And they basically said, you know, keep our name out your mouth. Like you're still a nigga. You might be a rich nigga, but you're still a nigga. You might be a famous nigga, but you're still a nigga. Keep our name out your mouth. And so I think you just got to ask yourself, like, why is it that, you know, black people, you know, are the only ones that, and everybody else thinks that's okay. You know, I don't think that there's anybody, black people have no friends in the music industry. There is nobody who is, you know, there's nobody that controls this industry that really has our best interest at heart. In fact, I saw something where two rappers were beefing, trying to act like they want to kill each other and whatnot. One was named Trippie Redd out of Ohio. I'd never heard of this guy. I said, okay, so this is the nigga of the week. Like they literally, E40 had a song called "They'll Find a New Nigga Next Year." So they're basically talking about hip hop industry. They're going to use you for a year, and then when you go to jail or you get killed or you ain't interesting no more, they'll find another black person to put in your place. And so Trippie Redd, when I saw him, I said, oh, he must be the nigga of the week. And so I saw he was beefing with Tekashi 6ix9ine, who's not black, but he's Mexican. And Tekashi 6ix9ine, you know, he's got the rainbow colored hair and his teeth that look like Skittles and all that. And he's pretending to be a gangster. And again, they're, you know, perpetuating violence, pushing violence into the air, pushing out this negative energy. You know, his whole tour was called "Test My Gangster," which is like if you mess with me, I'm gonna kill you, right? So that's the type of energy that they put into our music. And so I found out later on that these two artists that were beefing, Trippie Redd and Tekashi, who were getting together and talking about, nigga, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna shoot you, blah, 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 blah. I think they were represented by the same person. I think they were represented by the same. So this is so interesting. I mean, they're really running it the way Don King used to do the boxing industry, right? Don King would be like, I own the champion and I own the challenger. So I'm gonna win either way, you know, and that's what they do to us. They literally set us up to want to kill each other. You remember that's how Pac and Biggie got shot up. Pac and Biggie got shot. Everybody knew. Does anybody remember when Pac got shot? Like, is anybody old enough where they can say I was a teenager when Pac got shot, or I was an adult when Pac got shot? Like I was paying close attention when Pac got shot. Tell me if you're in that category. Like anybody who I know I was. I had just finished college. I was in grad school. And me and Tupac were the exact same age pretty much. I think his birthday was like a month away from mine or something like that. And so I identified heavily with Pac. So I followed it. I paid attention to the East Coast, West Coast. So when Pac got shot 5 times, you know, and all that, I remember, you know, hearing about it. And I remember specifically, distinctly in my head thinking, there's no way these guys are going to make it to their 30s. There's no way. The energy is too bad. It's too toxic, too fucked up. I didn't understand it back then because I was in my 20s. And I understood in hindsight. I look back and I say, oh, I know why I expected them both to die. It's because you have these fucking magazines owned by white people that are profiting from the beef. Like they want the beef to go back and forth. They want, they love to antagonize. They love to come back to Biggie and say, well, Pac said this about you. And then go back to Pac and say, Biggie said this about you. And that's where you got to be careful. Like when you get famous or you get, I've experienced this because I'm technically a famous person, even though I'm not as famous as a Tupac or whatever. But I go places and I've signed autographs and had some interesting experiences as a result of that. One thing that happens when you start, you have people that come between you and the people that you're close to. You'll have two people, you'll have people in your life that you're really close to, you're cool with. If y'all have an issue, y'all get together and y'all talk it out, right? But then if one of y'all blows up or both of you blow up, then people start feeling themselves, egos start getting involved, and then other people start gaining an interest in what you're doing. So then suddenly you've got all these people that want to be around you who they didn't give a fuck about you before you became famous. They didn't know who the hell you were, didn't give a shit, didn't care if you lived or died, but suddenly they want to be your best buddy. So all these people are around and they start whispering in your ear, well, he said this about you, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll go back to the other, and somebody else go back to the other person. Well, this is what he said about you. And if you're not careful, it'll ruin everything. It'll ruin, like, I think that's what happened with Biggie and Pac. I think that they were better off when they weren't famous. Like we think that being famous and being rich is a blessing, but sometimes being famous and rich can be safer when they were broke and, not popular and just regular dudes who loved hip hop, who were just friends. Like Pac said in that song, Hit 'Em Up, when he said something like, I beg the girl to let you sleep on the couch and all that, right? Like back in those days, things are better because things are simpler. But then you blowing up and you got all these people that are in between you that have their own agenda. They're trying to come up off of you. They're trying to get things from you. They're trying to manipulate the situation. And next thing you know, you're not speaking directly anymore. So you're not hearing what the person really said from their words. You're hearing what somebody else gave you as their interpretation of what they said. And then you're reacting to a lie and to an illusion. And then that ultimately leads messes. It leads, in the streets, it leads to violence. In real life, it can lead to things like lawsuits or whatever. Like I have friends, I can think of, like I have a couple of friends on the internet that I loved dearly who now hate my guts, right? One of them, her name is Yvette, and she hates my guts. And it made me so sad when she's launching missiles from across the internet at me because I was like, well, we used to be best friends. When we had an issue, I would call you. When we had an issue, we would just talk it out and figure it out. Now we got all these people that want to see us hate each other. They want to see us fight. And so I remember, so I did call. I called, I picked up the phone, and I was like, hey, why don't you call? No call back, and so I couldn't help that. But that made me sad because I learned over time, like, and I'm telling you guys, like, if you have people that you're close to or friends or whatever, you have to, keep those channels of communication open. Like one of the rules the Nation of Islam has, from what I understand, I'm not speaking for them right now, but I'm just going to tell you one thing that they believe, that I've been informed that they believe in, is that if you have an issue with another brother or a sister that's in the nation, you don't go off of hearsay. You don't go off of he said, she said. You get that person on the phone and you talk it out and you figure it out and you work it out. And so because a lot of homicides that happen in the hood, a lot of bad situations that happen, a lot of people that fall out and don't speak for years, a lot of that stuff happens. 8 years later, you'll be like, well, I stopped talking to you because you said blah, 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 blah. And the person like, no, I never said that. And they'll be like, but then you said blah, blah, blah. They'll be like, no, I didn't mean that. What I really meant was da, 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 da. You misinterpreted. So ultimately, that's how things escalate. So anyway, I know, with the Nipsey Hussle thing, I know that that's kind of the main story, right? Nipsey, got shot 6 times outside his store, and I wanted to share that with you guys so you guys would know, and also know how I feel about him. I have a lot of respect for this man. I think that what he's doing in the hood is great. I love the fact that his mind is elevated, but I think that there's a greater conversation to be had about what we're doing to each other as a people. What we allow in our community. You can't detach violence from what's happened to our music. Music is spiritual. Music is energy, right? So if you got so much music out here that is, you know, kill a nigga, kill a nigga, kill a nigga, then guess what's gonna happen? Niggas gonna get killed. Niggas is gonna be killing black people. Niggas won't do any killing, but excuse me, the niggas will do all the killing. Black people won't do any killing. It's gonna be niggas killing black people or niggas killing other niggas. So anyway, Ebony Brown says Boyce just wants the views to get paid. Ebony, you sound like a troll. So I just want you to know that if you keep talking crazy, somebody's gonna boot you out of here. Also, just so you know, in YouTube, they do not monetize videos that have violent language. So when I said Nipsey Hussle got shot, that right there meant the video would not be monetized. I'm doing this video because I wanted to talk about this issue out of respect for him. If he wouldn't have, I probably wouldn't have brought it up. Honestly, I would have just said, okay, well, you know, that's sad. I would have tweeted something. In the case of Nipsey Hussle, he's different. And another thing that I noticed about him that makes him different is I remember when Jay Morrison came out with his Tulsa real estate fund, and I saw, you know, in the Instagram comments where Nipsey came in and was very excited about the fund and said he was going to invest $10,000 in the fund. And that stood out to me because I'd heard his name. And I was like, oh, wow, he's putting his money where his mouth is. And also, that's the same amount that I bought. I bought $10,000 worth of shares in Jay's fund, and Nipsey did too. Now, I did not invest in Jay's fund because I know that it's going to all be purple, because if I'm investing all this money with white companies and I don't know half of the shit that they're doing with my money. I mean, I know some stuff, but you don't know everything a company's gonna do with your money. Why would I not trust a black man? You know, why would I not give a brother a chance to impress me? And if it don't work out, you know, if the fund doesn't succeed or we lose some money, then okay, so the fuck what? That's how investing works. Investing is like basketball. You don't hit every damn shot, but you keep shooting, goddamn it. That's what you do. That's what you do. So I respected Nipsey Hussle because, you know, he put his money where his mouth is. I was like, okay, so he's investing in the Tulsa fund. Good. You know, rappers and scholars should be working together more often anyway to do things for the community. You know, I heard about him buying up the block down in South Central. My God, that's an amazing undertaking. You know, I've heard that. I don't know anything about his music. I do about his music. Now, what's up with Nipsey? The report is that he was shot 6 times outside his store. In case you guys, you know, just came in. The rapper Nipsey Hussle has been reported, according to TMZ, who tends to just be everywhere on everything. They're kind of, unfortunately, they're a little bit in that space. Vlad could actually be accused of this too. Sometimes they almost come off like culture vultures in the sense that they kind of love to sort of creep in on what's happening in the black community. And I know Vlad, and I like Vlad. I mean, I like Vlad from the times I've talked to him, and I've been on his show a few times, and I like him as a person, just from, you know, man-to-man conversations. But I think he has to be cautious because it's very blatant, his obsession with culture and everything else is a little bit over the top. You know, so you know, in all of his shows, he'll be having, you know, rappers from the 90s asking him questions about very serious situations, you know, situations that either almost got somebody killed or could get somebody killed. Because I saw where he was asking the rappers Third Base about their beef with MC Hammer, and then he's asking Hammer about his beef with Third Base. And according to the guys from Third Base, Hammer was trying to have them killed, like he was literally trying to have them dead. And to me, I'm just kind of like, for them, this is entertainment, but for real people, this is like real stuff. And so I kind of think you got to be careful about that. And so I think that TMZ and Vlad, they just have to be cautious about being accused of being culture vultures, because, you know, your intense obsession with what's happening in the hood and your desire and ability to kind of, you know, make all this money from that is a blow. You know, I don't know. Okay, Donnie says Vlad is he's the police. He's a culture. Marcus says he's a culture vulture. Somebody said he's an agent. Y'all so funny. Y'all call everybody a goddamn agent. Anyway, according to a report from TMZ and several eyewitness reports, the West Coast rapper is said to have been gunned down Sunday outside his Marathon Clothing Company store in the Hyde Park neighborhood of Los Angeles, south of the Crenshaw area. Hussle's condition is unknown, but is said to be critical after eyewitnesses on the scene claimed to have heard 6 gunshots. Okay, so there was 3 people that got shot, 6 gunshots. So the chances of him being shot 6 times, the math doesn't add up, right? As well as reported at least 1 to the head. Okay. Here to see if there's anything else. He did send out this really interesting tweet. And this was earlier today. Like this is at 5 o'clock today, like 2 hours, a couple hours ago. And he said, having strong enemies is a blessing. Having strong enemies is a blessing. Um, it's hard not to connect that tweet to what happened, not too long after that. I think that obviously in that situation, the term enemies takes on a different level of meaning, right? I mean, although, death can happen to anybody or anybody can get shot, anybody can get shot. I think him, the things you say or the people that you have confrontations with, unfortunately, you're living in a war zone. You're living in a militarized type of area, type of situation. And that's not the nature of Black people. I don't think that's who we were really meant to be. I think that we know what happened to that area. We know how the CIA brought drugs into that neighborhood, and then sort of fueled the gang wars and whatnot. Not to say that this is a gang affiliated situation. Nobody knows, but they kind of fueled Black on Black hatred. You know, where we were the KKK, and they fueled that. Like where does a 13-year-old get an AK-47? He don't get it. We don't manufacture those guns. We don't make the drugs. And so all this came from white supremacy. All this comes from racism. Also, even if you talk about the debate on illegal aliens or whatever you want to call it, or people that come across the border illegally, I think that conversation has to be a different conversation for Black people. I know for a fact a lot of drugs and guns are brought over by people who come across the border illegally. I know for a fact that a lot of the murders that happen in South Side Chicago are committed by people that came across the border illegally, or the weapons that are used in those murders came from places that are not in the Black communities. If Black communities were left to themselves, none of this would be going on. Now I'm seeing in the chat that NBC is reporting that Nipsey is dead. Now, let me see. Not true. Yeah. Well, okay. What I'm seeing, let me just go to, I'm gonna go to usatoday.com, see if they have a report on it. Okay, nothing on USA Today. Let me go to NBCnews.com. Let me try that one. Oh, sorry guys. Now I got all this stress. Here we go. Yeah, NBC's reporting that Nipsey Hussle is dead, that he was killed outside a store in LA. Man, rest in peace, brother. Shit. Okay, so I'm gonna read it here out loud. It says 2 other men were in serious condition in the incident at a Marathon clothing store in South Central Los Angeles. A suspect remains at large. The Grammy-nominated rapper Nipsey Hussle was killed in a shooting outside his clothing store in Los Angeles. Multiple law enforcement sources said 2 other men were in serious condition and the suspect remained at large. No further information was immediately available about the shooting at Slauson Avenue in South Los Angeles for just a couple hours before the shooting. Hussle, 33, whose real name is Ermias Ashkadam, tweeted, "Having strong enemies is a blessing." Hussle's debut album, Victory Lap, was nominated for Best Rap Album at this year's Grammy Awards. Hussle had long been associated. This is where white people start acting white. This is when they start, looking into his past. Like, I think that when a Black man shot, the first thing white media tends to do is they start to ask themselves internally and sometimes out loud, okay, so what did this nigga do today? And it kind of pisses me off a little bit because that's what they did to my best friend Greg. His name was Greg Wilkins, and in Louisville, Kentucky, I remember he got shot, and it was by some guys that were in the game that were drug affiliated, but he wasn't a drug dealer. But I remember that the way the police reacted to the shooting, was completely devoid of any recognition of his humanity as a father and as a Black man. He was just like me. He wasn't somebody out here thugging. He was just a regular guy that just got caught in the crossfire of a bad situation, but they don't care. So here's where they started looking into the background, trying to find a reason that all this happened. So they say Hussle had long been associated with the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips, one of Los Angeles' largest street. Interview with Complex magazine. He and the actor Lauren London were the parents of a 2.5-year-old child. Hussle had other children from previous relationships as well. As news spread that Hussle had been shot, numerous performers and athletes, including LeBron James, 50 Cent, and Steph Curry, quickly tweeted best wishes. Okay. Let me see here. All right, so I see somebody shared the article. I'm looking here. Okay, so in addition to the man who was killed, the two other victims were listed as stable at a hospital. The said police, who said a male suspect fled in a car. No further information was immediately available, but just a couple of hours before the shooting, Hussle tweeted. Okay, so that was about the tweet again. I'll look at some of your comments. I don't have a whole lot more to say. I'm just sad. You know, I'm just really sad. They always fucking kill the good ones, man. Like, shit. You know, I mean, I'm sure we all know some black people that, well, we wouldn't notice if they went missing. I'll just say that. But this is not, he's not one of them. He's one of the ones that we needed. One of the ones that was really good for the community. Yeah, okay. So I'm looking at the comments. He's pronounced dead. Tupac of his generation says TKP. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, I know that Nipsey had received recognition, as much recognition for being a contributor to his community as he had received for being a rapper. I don't even know. I don't know if you asked me to name one Nipsey Hussle song. I honestly couldn't do that. But he was one of my favorite rappers because of who he was, what he represented. It's like a D1, you know, a D1. I like his music, but I love him as a person. You know, I just think D1 is a great guy. And I just think it's unfortunate. You know, I mean, it's almost like it. You know, when you raising a black male, you don't just have to worry about him getting into bad situations. You got to worry about how other people are raising their kids. You know, because if your neighbors are all raising their kids, you know, in a fucked up way, then one of their kids might come and kill your child. You know, so you might have done everything you can to raise him right and teach him how to make good decisions and put him in a good position. He's got education and all that, and you know, it doesn't matter. All he has to do is have a run-in with some asshole who wasn't raised right. You know, I mean, because I can definitely say that I've run into situations where I feared for my life, you know, where I thought I was going to possibly get shot that day, where somebody was literally popping the trunk with some sort of weapon in the trunk, and I had to get out of that situation quickly, you know. And so it doesn't. Nobody's immune from this. Like nobody's immune from any of that. And one of the things that I've noticed when I study other cultures in terms of how other cultures have risen out of oppression, one of the things I've noticed is that you have two battles. Basically, righteous people have the battle against the oppressor, and then they have the second battle against other oppressed people. You know, it's like when China had an opium problem and they had generals that, you know, and strong men in the community that wanted to kill the opium problem. They were burning down the opium houses. They stopped the British from bringing opium into the country, all of that. They said, we can't be a great country if we're all sitting around getting hot. The drug dealers to fight, and then they had to fight the drug addicts. You know, so I think in our community, that's what we have. With black men, you know, you got oppressors, you got racist cops, you got white supremacists, you got the Klan, you got the government, but then you got other black people, man. You know, I mean, and so it's unfortunate that the dysfunction runs so deep that we could be left alone. We could be totally left alone with our reparations checks in hand. Like we could be left alone, reparations checks in hand, cashed at the bank, and we might still fuck it up. We would still have black people that would fuck it up. You know, and that's the part we have to acknowledge for ourselves as a community. Like we can't sit here like Nipsey. I bet you any amount of money. You know, Nipsey wasn't shot by no cop. You know, he wasn't shot by. He didn't get into a police brutality situation. I don't know a black man who's been murdered by a cop. I'm gonna just tell you the truth. I don't know a single black man who's been murdered by a cop. But I want you to raise your hand. Tell me if you know of a black man who's been murdered by another black man. Tell me if you know of any black man who's been killed by a black man. And I'm sure all of you can. And tell me also if you're tired of hearing about and going to funerals. You know, I'm tired of going to. I'm going to a fucking funeral tomorrow. Goddamn, I'm going to a fucking funeral tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to a funeral. I'm not kidding. You know, so it's just kind of messed up. It's just kind of messed up. So let me just, to celebrate the brother's life, let me tell you a little bit about him. All right. So any of you who haven't taken the time to look up Nipsey and find out what he was all about, let me tell you why I'm taking the time to talk about him. I'm not talking about him because he's a rapper. There's dead rappers get shot all the time, and you don't see me talk about it. Like you don't see me talk about it. I'm talking about him because he was one of the people that recognized the power of his voice and why it was so important to use that power to elevate the people that he cares about. So this is this is Wikipedia. Now, of course, Wikipedia is, it's hit or miss, but I'm gonna go ahead and usually it has good information. So it looks like Nipsey is 34 years old. His birthday is March 31st, 1985. His real name is Ermias Davidson Ashadome. I hope I pronounced that right. He's released several mixtapes, including 3 installments of his Bullets Ain't Got No Name series. The Marathon Continues and Crenshaw, the latter of which rapper Jay-Z bought 100 copies for $100 each. So there was, I guess, the time where he released the album where he was selling the album for $100 a piece. His debut studio album, Victory Lap, was nominated for Best Rap Album at the 61st Annual Grammy Awards in 2019. So it looks like this year was his first studio album. In 2005, Hussle gave his first mixtape titled Slauson Boy Volume 1, which soon became the name of his own record label. In 2008, Nipsey released 2 mixtapes, Bullets Ain't Got No Name, Volume 1 and Volume 2, after signing with Cinematic Music Group and Epic Records. Now, Epic Records, if you recall, Epic Records also represented Bobby Shmurda. And remember, Bobby Shmurda went to prison, very unhappy with Epic Records because they didn't do anything to help him out. So some of these record labels, they'll misguide our young people. And then when they get in some shit, they don't care. Just maybe a stretch, but maybe this could be a take the heat off Jay-Z underage girls thing. No, I don't put it on a conspiracy. I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think, oh, wow, wait a minute. Hold on. Today's his birthday? Oh, no, that's the day he died. I'm sorry. His birthday is August 15th. I apologize. I got that wrong. I was looking at the date. They have the date he died actually on the Wikipedia page. So I was thinking, I got that as his birthday. My apologies. Listen to this. So in 2010, he appeared on the song We Are the World for 25 for Haiti. So he's done things for his community globally for a long time, which is why he earned so much respect. He left Epic Records in 2010, 2011. Good for him, because I'm not a fan of Epic Records. I don't trust them. After going through troubles with Epic Records, which is expected because Epic is not a company that has a good reputation, Nipsey was released from the label in late 2010. And after his release, he went on to found his own record, All Money In. On December 21st, 2010, he released his first All Money In Records mixtape called The Marathon. Okay. So he also played a small role in Bone Thugs and Harmony's semi-autobiographical film, I Tried, which was directed by Rich Newey. In 2010, he starred in the film Caged Animal along with Ving Rhames. He was born and raised in the Crenshaw neighborhood of South Central. He's also a member of the local Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips gang. He is of Eritrean descent on his father's side and African descent on his mother's side. That explains why he's different. I swear to God, I'm sorry. I apologize to my fellow ADOS African, but I'm telling you, you guys have no idea how many times when I see a black man doing something different from other black men, when I see a black man really building, how many times I'll go back and find out he's part Jamaican or he's part African, or he has some sort of culture that served as a foundation for his approach to life. African Americans, we've really been screwed up by this racism and this oppression thing. Like, we really don't know who the hell we are. We have zero self-confidence. We have a ton of dysfunctionalities in our families. It doesn't mean Africans are perfect. We know that. It doesn't mean Jamaicans are perfect. We know that's not true. But we do know that unlike, descendants of slaves, there's something there. There's some sort of cultural backdrop that goes back thousands of years that provides a type of continuity and a social intelligence that we don't always carry around as black people. There's something there. There's something that breeds family. There's something that breeds, hard work, that breeds entrepreneurship, that breeds intelligent decision making. So really surprising. You pay attention. Listen to this. They said that. Let me read this again. They said that he's Eritrean on his father's side, and of African American. Oh, sorry, African American on his mother's side. I said African American. So he is African American, but he's got this Eritrean background. In case you don't know about Eritrea, it's a small country. A lot of people from Eritrea are connected to Ethiopia. I don't know where it is on the map, though. I'm so bad at geography. Somebody tell me where exactly Eritrea is. Is Eritrea next to Ethiopia? For some reason, I was so dumb of me to not know this, but just blame it on the public school system. But anyway, yeah, above Ethiopia. Thank you. So he's got this cultural background that most African Americans don't have. There's a way African people do things that breeds family. There's a way African people do things that breeds stability, economically, socially, and otherwise. There's something about, my friends, when I talk to my friends, like I talked to my friend Nomalanga from Botswana, and she married an African-American man, and she can go down the list and say, yeah, these are some things African-Americans do that I just don't understand. Like, I didn't understand why this happened. And your men are so emasculated and blah, blah, blah. Blah. I mean, so tell me if you've ever heard this or if you've seen this. Don't be shy. If you're not from America, I want you to tell me if you think that there's something weird about African Americans. And sometimes we are just a little bit fucked up. Like, not that you don't love us. I'm sure you love us, but tell us like there's like a little bit in us that's like a little bit off balance, where you can tell that this white supremacy thing has kind of thrown us off. Now, Dual Victory said Tiffany Haddish is Eritrean, which might blow a big hole in my theory because she's the queen of coonery, but you get the point. So anyway, I want to say RIP to Nipsey, and his family. I hate the fact that his brother died. I'll look and see if there's any other reports. I hope that they catch the guy who did it, but that won't bring him back to life. According to NBC Southern California, let's see if they got any other new information. Let's see here. The shooting occurred at 3:20 p.m. They mentioned that. Let's see. LeBron James gave him a shout out. It was right outside his clothing store, and it's kind of interesting too. A lot of times, I mean, this isn't the first time where I've seen a brother get killed and kind of know that something was going to happen. I don't think they're strong enemies. I don't think they came out of nowhere. And what I think we don't process as much as we should is the fact that this is traumatic. Just living in that environment, whether you live or you die, it's traumatic to be a black male in certain situations. When Tupac, remember he said this in the song, "Only God Can Judge Me." Remember he said, no more hesitation. Each and every black male's trapped, and they wonder why we're suicidal, run around strapped. And so, I've known a lot of guys who feel, a constant amount of pressure as a black man, just this constant head, like the world hates you. Everybody wants you dead. You're doing better. The better you do, the more you become a target. Like in China, they say that the fattest pig always gets slaughtered. And I can say this, fortunately, because I'm in my 40s now, I'm able to cope with it a little bit better. But that goes all the way to the top. I think everybody feels this. If you're a black man and you know what I'm talking about, please share this. So if you've seen this, let me know if you've seen this. But there's nobody that really loves the black man. Even other black men hate black men. Even other black men hate you. So black women, some black women are trained to hate you. They're trained to look at you as a thug, a predator. There was a black man in Atlanta. Did y'all hear the story? There's a black man in Atlanta who went to see his girlfriend, knocked on the wrong door, and got shot and killed after knocking on the wrong door. And I'm not sure, but based on the names, you can tell if a name sounds kind of black. I think it might have been a black man killing another black man. I don't think this was no hate crime. This was, but then again, though, if you think about it, I mean, process this. About 80% of the time, when a black person shoots another black person, hate crime, because sometimes don't nobody hate you like other niggas hate you. Like sometimes, tell me if you ever felt this way. Do you ever feel like sometimes, like some of your white friends like you more than certain black people like you? Like there are black people who literally hate you because think about it, it makes sense, right? If I really truly hate myself and I'm trained to hate myself, then of course I'm going to hate you because you look just like me. I see you, you look like me, and I hate that motherfucker already because I've seen him in the mirror every morning. He's the suspect. Kill him, officer, seriously. And so I think it's kind of like when we talk about hate crimes like when a white cop kills a black person or a white person kills a black person, sometimes those crimes may or may not be hate crimes. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. But there's about 80% of the time when a black person kills another black person, that's a hate crime too. Because you got a whole lot of black people who ain't nothing but white supremacists in blackface, who literally, like you look at some of the rappers, they will scream, die nigga, die, before a white person will. Think about this. Think about how many people you got that will make a song, a hit song. The hit song will be like, die nigga, die nigga, die nigga, die. Like that would literally be a hit song. Like, so think about this though. I mean, so this genocidal, homicidal energy that exists in our community, when we're infected by this, when you have a good black person that's trying to do something good, trying to build something, trying to build something, niggas come along and want to destroy it. He's trying to do good with his family, niggas want to come along and fuck that up. He's trying to educate himself, niggas come along and make him feel bad about it. Like seriously, that destructive, homicidal, genocidal energy that exists in our community, to me, that ain't nothing but a motherfucking hate crime. So we need to start expanding the definition of hate crimes and start including black people in that definition, because there are some black people who hate black people more than white people can ever hate us. That's what leads to people like Nipsey Hussle getting killed too young, 33 years old, man. He has so much he wanted to do in his life. I don't know how many years he thought he had left, but he's supposed to have, theoretically, he's supposed to have another 30 or 40 years. Now he's gone. He's never coming back, and he's one of a kind. Ain't no other rappers out here doing what he's doing. Ain't nobody out here like him. Nobody. I mean, seriously, he's one in a million. I don't even care if he fucking won a Grammy or an Oscar. That shit doesn't matter. Who gives a shit? There's a ton of talented Negroes who know how to make a song. Anybody, a lot of people can do that. Nipsey Hussle didn't just know how to create a great song. He knew how to create a great community. And I think that's the part that just makes it sad, man. It's just sad. So I personally hope that whoever the niggers are that came and committed this crime, I hope that we thrust as much hatred on that nigger as we would on any white police officer or any white man who would have done the same damn thing. Because they all playing for the same fucking team. They all playing for the same team. You just happen to have a black face, but you still playing for the Klan. You doing the Klan's dirty work for them. Now they ain't got to kill black people anymore because we do the job so well. It's sick, man. It's truly sick. Let me go. I'm getting this. The more I talk, the sadder I get, because I'm just, they always got to take the good ones, man. Jeez. You guys have a good day. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll talk to you soon. Be good. Peace.